Good morning and Happy New Year to everyone. This is Chris Lipe, broadcasting from St. Louis, and we're going to be covering some of the Scrabble in Albany, New York this morning. Games should be starting in about 10 minutes, and it'll be a really great time. We have 7 games this New Year's Day to cover for you, and the tournament is a 22-game marathon event in Albany, New York, and we are half finished. Right now in the Collins division, you can see Adam Logan is overnight at 9-2 plus 1093. Evans Clinchey is a mere 5 spread points behind in second place, also at 9-2. Brad Whitmarsh is the lone 8-3. And then 4 players are sitting at 7-4 overnight, easily within striking distance with only half of this event, 11 games remaining to go. In the TWL A division, we have Carl Higbee sitting at the end of 2016 in first place at 8-3 plus 1042. Conrad is also 8-3 behind on spread. Josh Sokol and Joey Kraftchick are 7-4, as are Lloyd Mills and Mac Meller. Our first game this morning will be bringing you Mac Meller and Joe Edley, one of the longtime greats of Scrabble and one of the up-and-coming greats of Scrabble. Will be facing off in this TWL matchup that we'll be bringing you in about 10 minutes. The players are getting situated at the board already, but there's probably going to be a few announcements at the tournament venue before we begin. So we will be getting started momentarily. All right, it looks like we're just about ready to begin. The players are all settled into their racks. We have announcements are done already. Joe will be playing first, opening up 2016 with a opening up 2017 with a brand new year of Scrabble about ready to begin. All the players had all kinds of revelry last night. The games ended a bit earlier than normal to allow players to get out to dinner reservations and the wonderful buffet at the Best Western for the tournament players. And Games are starting a bit later today than they normally do to allow the players a bit of a lay-in after their big New Year's Eve night. We'll be bringing you both live shots of the board and shots of the board as put into Quackle to allow the viewers the best way to visualize what's going on as it happens in Albany. Our technical setup is by WGVC.com. Vince Castellano has put together a really nice setup in the playing room with rack cams and board cams to give me the information I need to do the commentary remotely from St. Louis of the Scrabble happening in Albany. His technical setup in directing Scrabble tournaments is one of the most comprehensive that I've seen in my travel tournaments all over the world. He really does a great job with technical solutions from the laptop to the cloud. Also have to thank Annette Tedesco for putting on this event. She's one of the best tournament organizers in the world, really. Her events in upstate New York. I was a regular attendee for over 10 years before I moved to the Midwest, and they're always among the most well-attended and well-organized tournaments you could hope to go to. At the bottom of the screen, you can see a ticker with the standings of the Collins division as they stood overnight. These will be updated automatically for the Collins division as the results come in. So you can follow all of your favorite players of the 24 who are competing, playing CSW in Albany this New Year's. The 11 o'clock hour has arrived in Albany, New York, and so the game should begin shortly. Hello to my friends in the chat providing brownies. If you can send the brownies to St. Louis, that'll be appreciated. If not, there's no fun in bragging. Did you bring enough brownies to share with the class? I think we've still got some announcements going. And yeah, for those of you just joining us, this is Chris Lipe on commentary. Randy Goldberg may be joining me for this game at some point from the beautiful central west end of St. Louis. We are broadcasting you Scrabble live that's happening in Albany, New York. The annual New Year's Albany Scrabble tournament that's been going for 10 or 11 years now. It is a 22-game event spread over 4 days, and we are proud to bring you action from every single round all over the 4 days. This is day 3. Round 12 is beginning today. There'll be 7 rounds played today and 4 rounds played tomorrow morning to close out the tournament. Right now, we are showing you a TWL game. It is Mac Meller, who's currently sitting in 6th place at 7-4 after his win over Ben Schoenbrunn in the final round yesterday that we broadcast here. And he's playing Joe Edley, who has a very long and storied history in our game. It was Joe Edley's book, Everything Scrabble, that I studied very, very closely as I was first beginning as a player, and it's one of the it is a top resource for somebody who is picking up the game and wants to learn how to get better. Not to mention all of the championships that Joe has won throughout his long and famous Scrabble career. Joe is currently 5-6, sitting in 12th place in the TWL division, but we're only halfway through this tournament, so really anything can happen. Our overnight standings in the Collins division, you'll notice the top 2 players are only separated by 5 points of spread. And Stefan Rao made a comment yesterday that was, if I knew the tournament was going to turn out like this, I wouldn't have made that challenge against Adam, giving him the 5-point bonus. That is literally the difference between first and second as the new year dawns. Adam Logan is 9-2 plus 1093. Evans Clinchy 9-2 plus 1088. So this tournament is incredibly close. It's a huge dogfight at the top, and we have 11 more rounds before it will be decided. We have a look over at the B division. We see Steve Azorio has a game lead on the field, at the halfway point. Then in the C division, Joseph Waldbaum has opened up a game, 2.5 game lead over Margot Kuno and Shubha Kamath. All right, it looks like the players are about ready to begin. And welcome to 2017's tournament Scrabble action. Joe Edley is drawing the first tile of the new year right now. And it is a blank. It is the first tile of the new year is a blank, and that is an auspicious beginning for 2017. So it looks like the first play of the new year is likely to be a bingo. And Mac's new year is not going nearly so well. Judging by the plethora of vowels. So Joe is taking a bit of time considering the bingo options. And he opens his 2017 account with a play of Gambine. And we are off. There are plays for Mac here. It's not necessarily an exchange. There are plays where he can, he might be able to play, for 16, 18 points. Yeah, Mac had actually lined up Oidioid minus the D on his rack before Joe played. And then when there was no D forthcoming for Oidioid, now his tiles are shuffled. Otherwise, Mac's considering idiom, considering exchanging. He's exchanging 21 in binary as 10101. Hasn't made either play yet, but those are the two that it looks like he's considering, based on the way he's organizing the tiles on his rack. And yeah, he has exchanged IOIOI, which is fine play. Especially down a bingo, you don't want to get bogged down trying to don't want to get bogged down too long trying to groom a rack and work your way through something bad. Sometimes if you're down in early bingo, trading ends up being a better option. In this case, there wasn't really anything that Mac was going to do that was going to stop Joe from playing a second bingo, which goes down immediately. Now Mac's looking at his next rack, and he has responded with a bingo of his own. And Mac has played Ironized. So we are off to the races a bit here, with 2 bingos to 1. Mac is still at quite a deficit, but things are looking a bit up, looking a bit better here. And Joe has a KW rack. It's balanced, but it's a bit awkward. No bingos in this. It looks like it's very close to something like water ski. Which if water ski were actually there into the eye of Ironized, it would be pretty incredible. Good morning, Marsh. Welcome. Yeah, Scrabble's version of Old MacDonald, I-O-I-O-I. De-ionize was the other bingo that Mac had. Honestly, if I were playing a TWL game, I wouldn't be sure that ironized was in the book because I don't think it's there with an S. And I would have played de-ionized simply because I don't know that lexicon as well anymore. Joe is taking his time to think, which makes sense. This is the sort of board position and the sort of rack where there are many different choices, and the different choices are each very different. There are a lot of different places that are open. There are a lot of different possibilities. What area of the board do you want to deal with first? There's going to be a lot of different options going here. Like the first one, probably one of the first ones that you'll look at is something like Weka that goes here, taking these hotspots. You have, you have stuff like, awoke into here, taking, crossing the K and taking that. And then you might want to keep the K and just play off the W. I think in a Collins game, you're going to be looking at something like woke here is pretty standard, but without KO, you have a bit fewer options than you would otherwise have. The top scoring play would actually just be Gawkers down here and blowing up the whole rack, but cashing the W for maximum score and picking up, it only picks up about 8 points for the S over something like Weka. So Joe very well may decide not to make that play, make another play that saves the S, as the this is a prime easy to use bingo line. And it's an S ending line only, so it's going to need saving the S in this case is going to be useful. Of course, all of the other S's are in the bag, so if you want to cash it, it's not a terrible idea either. There's actually not much that Joe has to do in this area of the board. Sadly, Ewok isn't going to go because, that's where it would go. That's where it would be. Ewok would be the perfect play in that spot. Yeah, and this play here would be wake, not woke. It would save the O because, Og isn't there yet. And so Joe has picked up a few tiles. He's holding them in front of the camera and now placing them on the board. And he's played Gauk. For 18, which it seems to me that leaves an awful lot of points on the table just to keep AERS versus EORS. That seems a pretty strange choice, just simply equity-wise. I certainly would have taken one of the options. Weka definitely, I think, is the top play. It scores 30-something and saves the ES and saves EORS. So that's that's a curious choice. Gauk does leave those E's open as potential bingo spots, but there's also E's on M column. so I'm not sure why the big emphasis on just leaving F and G columns untouched. So there's, again, no standout play here for Mac. Just a question of trying to, figure out the best way to groom the rack and score a few points. There's no, no need to do anything strange, but and yeah, he plays what is pretty much the top score, close to the top scoring play. Not entirely, but certainly the best equity play by a margin. He plays a do, and that makes absolutely perfect sense. Joe has drawn the second blank after his play of Gauck. And there are plenty of bingo choices at this point, many of which do use that I column as hook. And yeah, he goes down with the stylish Bear Sark, which is a great play, a great choice. It gives up 1 point, but it's far, far more defensive. Plays in the interior of the board. Closes down lanes. That's a really quality play. And Mac comes back with Stollider almost immediately. He's still a bingo behind, though, having the difficult task of catching up to Joe Edley when he keeps playing bingos. Let me update the racks for you. Mac has drawn plenty of U's to go with the cue that he drew. He has up Q on his rack. And Joe has drawn a bunch of consonants, so it'll be another hard think. Joe has 15.5 minutes on his clock. Mac is slightly on the happy side of 19. So plenty of time. There's 45 tiles in the bag, so we're about halfway through the game, and both players have been managing their clock pretty well. Joe comes down with Silva, which does everything he needs to do. Um, slots the Y, moves the YV combination, scores very well. So here Mac is still considering. There's no obvious place to play something like Q, um, and no. So it'll take a bit of thinking, a bit of doing. There's really no standout Q play. There's a place where Q will fit, down F column or G column. And there are some other options that save QU, and maybe that's going to be something to do. There's a shot at maybe hitting Quark around row 15 or something like that, with a serious Q play. I don't see anything really cutesy that sets up a QI here that would put a U in this position and then set up a Q play that way. Doesn't look like there's anything great there. And Mac decides to keep the QU combination and plays rupee down at the bottom, which is a fine play. QUU is if you're going to keep W's, two U's, not a W. Keeping a Q with it is going to be a good compromise, a good way to. That's the biggest synergy with the U that you're going to get, is holding the Q. So Joe here has drawn the other V. He's got the VU. And And it looks like Joe played veto. And now Mac has another difficult decision to make with the Q. Okay, we had a bit of technical difficulties that I needed to attend to, but we got through everything. No, Vuddy isn't in TWL, and that would have been a useful thing for Joe to uh, potentially have. Yeah, playing Vuddy down at L4 is going to be pretty easy in a Collins game, but unfortunately that's not a not going to be an option for this. So there's a few different ways to go with this. Mac could do, because you have the J and the Q, you have two different problems you want to deal with. And there are places to play the J. You got, something here. You play Joy, stuff like that. And then you have something like Quay over here that also works if you want to deal with the Q first and hold the J. Mac does have the S, so this bingo lane, Mac's down a bingo, and he's going to need to hit it as soon as he can. So that lane is still going to be pretty important. And the way the board situation is, Joe's going to have to make a small play here, which likely won't score very much, but a small play there is what's going to have to happen. Is about the only way that Joe has to block this I column lane. Because obviously nothing's going to go in front of Silva. There's going to be not really any sort of nonsense here. So it's really just, if Joe can make a play right there, then that would seal off the board pretty well and put Mac in a pretty difficult position of, trying to take advantage of this M of his O for a bingo. And Mac has made a play. He does play Quay. And moves the Q and keeps the J for next turn. Joe taking a bit of time thinking about this one. Now, yeah, I think Quay is fine. I think Joy would have been fine. You're gonna take 2 turns to move the tiles anyway, so either way, there's maybe some more potential with J, because there's this. You have this spot for the J and you have this spot for the J, so you have a bit more flexibility with the J than the Q, so it maybe makes sense to play the Q first. Let's see, Joe has played, yes, Joe did exactly what I was mentioning. He plays Tarot in this spot down here to block this I column bingo lane, and it's right? And Tarot gives up a bunch of equity, but what it gains in board position, basically being the only way to kill this bingo line is immense. And now Mac is in a very difficult position. He's going to have to deal with the J. And then he's going to have to try and manufacture some bingo line, either finding a bingo through this O or the M, or through the L, A, V, through in this area over here. The lanes that Silva opens up on the right side of the board aren't terrible, but hitting the heavy lane O column, an 8 ending in A, that's going to be a bit difficult. This L column is going to be a bit difficult. It should score well if he draws an L, maybe it'll go. But yeah, a bingo at L1 is of course going to give back an opportunity for triple and the H1. So Mac is still considering his play. He has still a few choices of what to do. He can drop. It seems pretty likely that playing the J is going to be the right play. If he can play the J interior, so much the better. So yeah, like Quackle's top equity choice judo. The leave is so consonant heavy. That's a big drawback with a bingo being pretty urgent, but there's not a whole lot of other choices, and it does what it needs to. Junta, which Mac actually has lined up right now, over here is a possibility, but that's gonna take out your it's not a great bingo lane, but it is an important bingo lane. And there's sets up opportunities for Joe to block. Thoughts to tuck to set up the S hook. That is very cheeky. It's because there's another S on scene. So, but yeah, playing tuck and then hoping you draw. There's a lot of eyes on scene. He could draw gins and stuck. It's almost certainly going to be blocked. It's a bit. It's an interesting gambit to try and play, but with another S on scene, it's a bit risky. It sort of reminds me of the jeu play that Nigel made in the finals in Prague, where he makes a play that's obviously a setup to like a 100-point play, and yeah, it's actually a bit tricky to block unless you're holding the other S and you can take it, because all you can do if tuck goes down here, then all you can do without the other S is literally a 2-tile play right here at 14A, which of course gives stuff back through the play. So and if you ignore it, if Joe were to ignore it or whatever, then obviously you're asking for something like gins for 100 if Mac can draw into it. But a 2-tile play would come with whatever awkward thing Joe could come up with to put there. It's an interesting thought. I think it's probably a bit too aggressive, but it actually might be a good option. I think I would do Junko first just because of the way it shapes the board. But the problem with Junko is it puts the J on the square next to the double word. So I don't like either of them. I would have played Judo. It looks like Mac has played Junta, and and then Joe bingos immediately. I guess Max should have played Tuck. How to evaluate a play like Tuck is it's difficult to judge how to evaluate it just because it's so it induces a lot of volatility immediately. So now Mac's in a pretty tough spot. I think it's Eldar who tends to say that Scrabble players in general tend to be too risk averse. So I don't know if something like Tuck is crazy, but most players sitting at the board would dismiss it out of hand too quickly. Camshaft. That was blocked. That was sadly blocked by Junta. Yeah, if Mac plays Tuck, then Joe is going to play, I don't know, GI. I don't know, or maybe he just plays the bonus and figures if he's trading 80 points for 80 points. It at least puts Joe in an interesting position to figure out how to deal with it, because it's very blatant. And that sort of play is generally something that it seems like Asian players, not necessarily playing Tuck in that position, but those sorts of plays are things that Asian players have learned by studying Nigel a lot. And it's something that American players don't think of to do. We're generally, to have a really big hand-wavy sort of generalization, American players tend to have stronger word knowledge, but not as good strategic nous. And players elsewhere in the world, especially Australians and Southeast Asians, and those players tend to be very wily strategically, but and it's changing, of course, but a bit weaker on the word knowledge, just because the Americans were brought up on double challenge. Even though one's playing Collins now started playing TDOL double challenge, where just memorizing a large portion of the book is more vital than it is in with a lesser challenge penalty. Joe plays Weeping here, which is a pretty standard play. It's going to take out the triple lane. It's going to move 6 tiles. It's going to score really well. And those are all the things that he wants to do at this point. Exhaust tiles to, bring the game to a close sooner. Take out the only bingo line that's going to be strong enough for Mac to actually mount a comeback. That's a pretty straightforward play from Joe. Currently, there are 9 tiles in the bag. Hello.
Hi.
You want to join the commentary for a moment? Randy Goldberg is here. And how are you this fine morning? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone watching. I'm doing okay. I'm looking forward to the female duels to the death in a couple rounds, or next round.
I think next round, yeah. We're going to have Jen Lee and Lisa Brown, both of whom are doing quite well.
Yes. I am rooting for both of them in this tournament. So really excited to watch that one and see what happens, and maybe I'll join the commentary for that one.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go pet the cat and drink some tea.
So Mac cashes his X. It's pretty standard. There's actually a pretty large opportunity still open that I'm expecting Joe's going to take out this turn one way or another. Row 5 lane. I am fully expecting Joe to play something here at K4, which, yeah, of course he does. So, take out the triple, take out the double. It's pretty workmanlike. There are currently 3 tiles in the bag after the play of Fib. So Mac's back on turn. He has his rack is arranged to spell Lactase. None of the things play. There's 3 in the bag. And unseen to Mac is cohering and 2 A's. So the remaining pool is actually pretty, for Mac it looks pretty scary. It looks like Joe may actually bingo again. But Mac is also close to a bingo, so all the tiles out are really nice, have a lot of synergy. So we very well may see another bingo before this game is out. As the tiles fell, probably not 2. Mac plays Cam, setting up the mouse. And Joe has no bingo. One thing that I learned in TWL, it's not true in CSW, but in TWL, if you have any 7 of the 8 letters to spell aeration, then you have no 7-letter word. There are 7s in Collins. That are sub-anagrams of aeration. Jessica would know that because she does the subword sloth all the time on Xerafin. Joe picked up some tiles and then put them away. He's looking, I think he was considering Iron at 2B, judging just from what he picked up. Just playing for spread now. The game's clearly in hand. There's 1 tile in the bag. Spelling Laigest, L-A-I-G-H-E-S-T, are the 7 tiles, or 8 tiles unseen to Joe. He plays Iron again and then picks it up again. Oh, the agony of indecision. Joe has just under 7 minutes on his clock. Mac is down to 42 seconds. So whatever endgame Mac is going to try to play, it'll be... Whatever Mac decides to play, it'll be quickly. Joe is evaluating all of his choices, trying to block as much as he can and set up an out and 2. Let's see. Aglets is out, which would fit in row 2. From Joe's point of view, yes, Gelatis does not fit. Latches fits. No, the C is gone. There's no Latches Satchel, but Aglets is up there that plays. Mac played off the C when he played Cam.
Hope everyone out there is appreciating Mr. Doggy's additions to the commentary. He's quite chatty this morning.
Yeah. There's nothing. It looks like there's nothing that actually fits over the top of Cam. So really, row 2 blocking Aglets is the only. So yeah, Laightest are the 8 unseen to Joe. And Aglets, Alights, Gelatis, Halites, Heliast, Ligates, Slight, I think, are the 7s that are unseen. And Joe has finally decided on our own. Mac plays shag up top, which is the top scoring play. And the C was in the bag. Yep, so alpaca.
The board was wide. S-E-A-R, yeah. I mean, I could have played 30 for 30 some, but I thought the odds were too high that I would pick up the blank.
We have some of the post-mortem sounds after Joe wins 515 to 385. Yeah, there was a bit of confusion with what Quackle was telling me was unseen. I apologize for that.
The pre-Q obviously didn't play. Like 2 points. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I'm not feeling like I'm making mistakes.
Yeah, one of those games. I had very few of them.
My opening rack, I had 3 I's, 2 O's, an E, and a D. I'm still making you give me a D to play oidy.
Oh, yeah, that would have been. I couldn't believe it when I picked the second finger.
I was really close when I played FOH. I had AMSPC. If you give me an A, it would have had camshaft.
Ah, nice. You're number 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mac also saw camshaft on that rack. There was no A available for him to play it.
All right. Good luck.
You too. You don't have much else to think about, really.
No. Oh, there was a lot to think about here. I wanted to block the board. I had a lot of bingo. Putting a K there, rather than coming up and getting more points, I thought that was a pretty good way to block it. I didn't want to open it up anymore for you. Putting a K there. I thought,
Yeah, no, there wasn't eyeglets. The eye wasn't.
I don't know. I didn't look.
And Quack was telling me it was. I'm totally throwing the software under the bus.
Nothing that gets to that.
Yeah. How about you think that?
Yeah, first, I thought you blocked. I thought Toddler was just going to bingo first, and then luckily I saw that.
Oh, yeah, that was beautiful.
That
was beautiful. Yeah. No.
I feel like I've always played. I hear you walked lactases.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's why I played mixed.
I know. I couldn't either.
Yeah, there's nothing else. That's why I was trying to save spread.
Right.
Hey guys, you ready for us? Yeah. All right.
All right. Well, what's the post-mortem here?
All right, we're gonna have a short short chat with the players, I think. And as we mentioned before, our next round is going to be a CSW game. We're going to have Lisa Brown and Jennifer Lee playing, and that game will be starting in probably about 10 minutes or so. We are waiting for the Skype call from the players of this game. We'll chat with Mac Meller and hopefully Joe Edley. And if there are any, I'll ask them about some of the things that we discussed during this game.
I appreciate the very enthusiastic.
That can't come through on my phone. Hello, hello. Can you hear?
Good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
Hold on for a second.
All right.
See if I can set up an unattended. All right. Okay. We could scoot together here just a bit. All right. There we go. Chris, how's the sound? Sound check?
I don't know. It's going on.
Yep.
All good?
All right.
Lighting, not great. Can we just angle you a little bit? That helps. I'll fight this way.
All right. You're on the air.
Definitely going on my resume when I apply to NBC. Okay, you guys take it away. Just bring me here when you guys got
Well, okay. Sorry, Mac. Well, I know it's my worst nightmare to be in your tournament where my opponent plays bingo and you've got what you've got to have to exchange. I mean, I felt very lucky to have a bingo with that rack. And then I pick up yet another bingo. I mean, that was, But then you had a bingo.
Yeah, I was still got that.
So that was good.
It was funny when I exchanged my first speech, I was like turned over and exchanged to IIO, and I thought for a second I accidentally turned over the tiles I exchanged, and then I got ZD, and I was like, okay.
Yeah. No, I was so glad you did that. I wanted it to be just a game, and after that I knew what you
It was so open.
Yeah, you could easily win the game,
You know, that track in my team that was nice. So.
Right, yeah. And then I had I took a long time on that shell crack because I had work, T, T-A. And it looked like, yeah, but I didn't have a T, and I needed a T, and the D didn't work, the B didn't work, at least I didn't see it. There was an N there, and I could have played waiter, setting up my S for 34 points, but with the board so open, I thought that SEAR was...
And I'm losing, so I'm not falling off the
Exactly. So I figured, why not?
Yeah.
And then you play a do, which is nice 4. What did you keep when you played it?
EOLS. Seemed pretty cool.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then I got my bingo. I had to think a lot. You decide how to block the board. That's what I wanted to block. A lot of different ways of bingoing, but I chose Dare Start to block. And then you got your bingo.
Yeah, but Silva put you up over a bingo, though. You start to come back after that.
Yeah, put me up over 100. Silva, I mean, I didn't immediately put it down because I kept hard.
So
I was saying whether I just wanted to do that or I really wanted to better rack. But I
too many points, though.
Exactly. It was just too many points. I had to play Silva. And then you were stuck with
you and a lot of you.
Yeah, he looked like a beautiful try.
Yeah.
What did I have? I got rid of the B, the C, and the O, and I kept R. I can't remember what it was, but I liked it because it blocked me.
Yeah.
And so, and then your Quay, of course, you put 2. And then I immediately picked up, after playing Veto, I immediately picked up OUTELAR. I had just won both E's, so I could have out clear, but of course,
would have opened the board up anyway.
And it would have opened the board, and so I was happy to, think a little bit. I mean, getting rid of the TAR and keeping LOUT doesn't look great, but it blocks your...
That's really wrong. Get back in the game.
Exactly. Yeah, I got to watch that.
I kept forgetting first. I actually assumed you were going to block it at some point.
Right. And then you play Junta, getting rid of Junta. And then I'm sitting there looking at Velocity, and I couldn't believe it.
This one I really thought about was like FCS. Like, it's clearly a stupid idea, but I thought about fishing up the S with of and hoping for the M for one dash.
Oh, wow.
But it wouldn't have even scored that much. It was not a good idea.
Okay.
There's only one M in the bag of like 20 tiles. It was just too low odds. But
And then when I played that, what did you said you almost had teams. You had FH. What did you say? Because I gave you the T.
yeah,
What did you do?
I kept MC.
Yeah.
I could have played.
If you have any concerns, just stop the clock, call for a director, and I'll be right over.
Yeah.
And you may see me dashing by to.
No, I wouldn't have. No. I would have done. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just carry on with the game.
And then, so I had a choice. I could have played that big, EEN, but when I looked at the letters that were left, I chose weeping, which will have 6 more points, but also because there were 2 C's left. And I would have loved to get the CK, a triple word on the bottom.
Oh, right.
Given with another 30 plus points. So weeping it was. And then mix, of course, I knew I had to block the S after that, too.
Yeah.
And then there's not much else to say.
Yeah, I figured Cam was a decent try because I had the last test instead of Scam. I thought about Lamb, too. Turns out it would have run Gotchas, I guess, if I had played Lamb, but Lamb's easier for you to bluff. Or you could also have played something like ICO or AECIA in LA and block both lanes at once.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, didn't see that.
And as it turns out, I'm looking at Satcha with a G.
Was the C in the bag? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, so you had aeration minus a G?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I figured.
Yeah, and I kept trying to block Satchel. I kept looking, but I didn't see a good way of blocking it. So I figured, all right, well, if you got it, you got it. I just want to make sure.
You'll still win, obviously.
Yeah. And you could have had Gatches, but Gatches wasn't quite after that.
Yeah.
So that was it. Not a lot for either one of us to think about. Really.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't really feel like either of us made mistakes.
No. I thought we did.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Very good.
That's it.
Good luck.
Yep, you too.
Yes.
Good.
All right.
Should we turn this off or something?
Yeah, you can turn this off. Thanks for the discussion.
All right.
All right, it looks like we see Lisa Brown sitting at the table. Jen Lee is coming up, and so we're going to begin in just a moment. I am going to pause the stream and restart it, and so the archive has the games as separate video files. So the stream will end and then restart in a few seconds, and then we will be ready for the round 13 from Albany. We'll be right back after a short break.